Now we've been looking at different examples of CSS, and we'll look at a few of these examples in this video as well. Now HTML has two very useful elements that are designed as generic elements. One is div and the second is span. Now div is a block level element like the p element or the p or the paragraph element, and it acts like a paragraph. It usually has carriage returns before and after it, and we use div to group a series of paragraphs. And the second element is a span, which is an inline element. It does not usually cause carriage returns because it's meant to be embedded into some other block level element, usually a paragraph or a div, and is usually used to add some type of special formatting. So you can use spam and div to define your data, and it gives you a lot more control than tables and leaves your HTML code much cleaner. And they are not simply a replacement for tables. These are tools meant for organizing a page into segments based on meaning. So after you have them in place, you can use CSS to apply all kinds of interesting styles to these segments once you have broken up your content into these different segments based on these divisions and the div and the span. So let us look at an example here. So here let us look at the source. So it says, okay, this is the style part, and there's a contact, a name, and a phone. So you're specifying your div with a class as contact in all these three cases, and then a span as a class name and a class phone. Okay. So for contact, you can specify the rule as background color should be this, and for whenever you use a name here you're giving a name again has a specific font, and then a phone number again as is monospace. Okay. And that is being applied over here. Those rules are being applied for the entire division as a contact, and which is the background color, and the name is italicized without serif, and this is the rules for your phone number. Okay, so this is where this is an example of using the div and the span. And then we can use pseudo classes to style links. So let us look at another example here. So here we are saying that this link is normal, this has been visited, and a mouse is hovering over this link. And you can go to your page source, and you can specify the different styles for links. So this is a style for the link, which is a color black and background color is white. Okay. And then you're saying that once you visited a link, then the color should be black and the background color should change. And then once some of the mouse hovers over the link, then the color is white and the background color is black, like this. And you notice that in this case, the way you are specifying it, the link element over here you have a colon, and that's where you're specifying this visited and hover over it. So then you have these different links that are specified, and then for each of these links, then it'll tell you what happens when it's normal, when it has been visited, and so on. Okay, so once you visit a link, you go to the page, and you come back. This is what happens to the visited link. Okay, and this is what. And if you were to visit this again, that would change as well. And when you have a mouse hovering over, then that would look different. So the order in this specifying is important. You need to specify the ordinary anchor first, and then after that you specify the other rules over here, and which is visited and hover. So again, the way you style the links, you have to style them in such a way that they still look like links to the user, and you need to test for visited links. So let us now look at another example. So here you have So what you're doing here is that you have an ID here called special, okay, and then you're doing that text align is right. So now you can select by context. So inside this div, you have this paragraph which is by default as left justified, and then you give this ID as special, and then by special, then you are aligning them to the right to those special paragraphs. Okay, so this part is left aligned, and these are your special those that are using the ID element. So this is what is happening. So in this, when you're doing the selection in context, the ID rule is affecting the paragraphs inside a special div. And you can also look at you can also define multiple styles at once. So let's look at one more example. So here you have your heading 1, heading 2, or heading 3, and for each of these you have the text is aligned to the center, this is the font family, and the color is yellow. Okay, and then you have, and for heading 3 you have some extra rules as well. The font family should be monospace, and then you have your heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So you see that all of them pretty much have the same kind of rules applied, even though they have the different sizes because of the heading, the way headings are applied. But then in your CSS, all of them are center aligned, and then all of them have are using this font family. They're all cursive over here for. So this was supposed to be cursive as well, but then you specified a different rule over here, and the background color was yellow for all of them. Okay, so that is an example of using multiple styles in CSS all at once. So one thing to remember here is that having a comma or no comma here makes a huge difference. So if you separate elements with spaces but no commas over here, let's say H1, H2, and H3, then CSS looks for an element which is nested within the other element, that is H2 nested within H1 and H3 nested within H2. But if you include commas, then CSS applies the rule to all of the listed elements over here. So you can try these out and check them out.